And we're back. Welcome back, everyone, to How to Write an SCP Expanded. This is How to Write a Description this week. So,
Yes, and based on, we're going to be continuing from last week's How to Write a Containment Procedures. The idea is by the time we finish this series, we're going to post this SCP up, and it'll be good. And
yeah,
you guys will have been here the whole time.
we'll go through the entire process. I'm going to look into getting some people to do a feedback video of us as well to go through the critting process.
Oh, that's a great idea. We can do 5 parts. We can do so we did the containment procedures, then description, then addendum, then crit, and then finally how to format it on the way.
Maybe a retrospective on how it does on the wiki and everything. Go over what we did right, what we maybe did wrong. It's going to be a good learning experience for everyone. So let's get into it. So remember what we had last week? So we decided that this Crystal Bird was going to be used by a con man.
Yes, we're going to go with a sad tone. It was used by a con man, tricking people into thinking they were diamonds. They had to all be given amnestics. It was taken away. Due to the nature of its body, it's eventually going to die, no matter what. So it's only a matter of time of getting as much research as we can. So what the most important part of this is sure, we guys just described it to you, and you can probably in your head say, oh yeah, that's supposed to be sad, but you probably don't feel anything.
Yeah.
So what matters is how we write it. And Tan is a master at this, I think, is developing something called tone.
Okay.
And I think most of you know what tone is because you all went to school. But just, Tan, if you have more specific insight on that and some advice on how you should word that as you write it. Just because something is sad an idea doesn't make someone feel something.
Yeah, it's all about the presentation there. Oh, sorry about the notification there, everyone. We just got a new subscriber on the channel.
Oh my god.
Well, I have to explain it because it popped up during the video.
I didn't see anything. I think
well, never mind.
Cloud demon over here.
What can I say? So, tone, as we were saying, it's all about how you present something. Like a few articles I really like on the wiki that present things very mysteriously. They go into a lot of things. They minimalism for those is the best way to go about things for mysteriousness.
Mm-hmm.
So they usually give us things without maybe not necessarily having the entire context for them.
Yeah, you're given the bare minimum to work with, and then you have to make the assumptions on your own.
Yes.
When it's something sad, you need to first get your readers invested in the thing. Because, for example, millions of people die of poverty or starvation every day, and sure, that's as a whole sad, but you probably care a lot more when a family member or friend is sick or dies than someone around the world you've never met. So, because you're invested in them, you know them. So we have to get you invested in this crystal chicken, which saying out loud sounds kind of difficult.
Well, people have empathy for animals, dogs, things like that. I would jump into a river to save a dog.
Yeah. I think the easiest way to get someone invested in an animal, the cheap route, is to make the animal dog-like. Like if you've ever watched a Disney movie, any animal companion aside from Mushu is basically just a dog, no matter what animal it is. That's a very common trope. I don't know if you've noticed that, Tan.
I have,
but just basically make it loyal, make it like wine, make it happy to see owners. That's the very easy way to do it, but you can't really do that with a chicken. Also, like I said, that's the easy way out, and I think for a master of tone such as yourself, you're capable of something more nuanced.
So as you can see, I've already started writing here. So what we got so far is SCP is an adult chicken. We're going to fancy that up a little bit later, I think, which converts any substance which touches its skin to a unique form of crystal. Then we'll have a footnote going into the composition of it. Reveals it to be a form of solidified and thus... Actually, maybe this won't be a footnote. Maybe this will just be a second sentence. And thus is extremely fragile to the touch.
Oh yeah, so if you drop it or touch it too hard, it'll break.
SCP itself is not immune to this effect, and current inspection shows at least 32% of its body is now composed of this crystal substance.
Yes. Or at least coated in it, yeah. I think...
Then we have a footnote.
Yes.
It is unknown how SCPX continues to function when several of its organs have already been converted.
perhaps I'm thinking with the description, we want to start setting the tone, but I think you have the right idea in that we're still just talking about what it is, whereas the addendum is where we're going to put
the subject here. Yeah.
Whereas the sob story is going to probably be in the addendum, I would think.
About that interruption, everyone.
Yes. So what I was saying is description, although we should start setting the tone, we probably will save the actual sob story for the addendum, right?
Mm-hmm.
So right now is important to, now that people have had their chance to guess and sort of surmise what bird is, now we're telling them it's an adult chicken, anything it touches turns to crystal. Maybe something along the line of, due to the nature of this, it's constantly coating its own body in more crystal, as well as the walls and floor of its containment. As such, containment regularly needs to be cleaned. Or actually, you don't need to say that. That's already in the description. But just clarifying what they mean by contamination.
Well, we already sort of know at this point. So I don't feel like
that's fair.
going over it again really contributes much. So
I'm just struggling to think what to rate here then outside the addendum to add more meat to it. Because it's especially weird if the containment procedure is longer than the description.
Inspection of SCPX's converted body shows signs of significant physical injury in the past.
Would it be better to just say significant past physical injury?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tiny little wording
Will
things.
typically respond with distress when approached by personnel.
So here, Tan's already setting the tone for what's going to come in the addendum. He's already implying that something has happened to this bird that makes it more afraid of personnel than normal, at least for a chicken. Chickens usually aren't afraid; they just kind of awkwardly walk away from things. So it gives you a glint of what's to come. So this is what we mean by establishing tone. Rather than just telling your readers exactly what happened to it, you want to build up to it so they're more invested when they find out.
Right, yes. And something else we can get in description is the fact that its days are numbered.
Mm-hmm. You could even add something like SCP bird has been seen to have labored breathing and trouble walking or something if you really wanted to lay it on thick.
I don't think we want to do that yet.
Okay.
And has been conducted.
Maybe an investigation instead of a hypothesis, an investigation into its past. Yeah. Oh, wait, you already said investigation.
In addendum. The results are available.
Right.
Due to the fact that...
Would it be... I mean, again, just nitpicky word stuff, but would it be better to write, like, the results of which can be found in addendum rather than are available in?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Is not immune to its own effects. It does appear to have some level of resistance, as it would otherwise have been immediately converted to crystal upon manifestation of its anomalous properties.
And see, this is interesting too, because this gives you another in to further torture this chicken in the addendum. Perhaps maybe because it's immune to its own effects, it's been tested on, had its blood taken in various ways, because, you know, it's tricky with the crystal part, to like try and create antibodies of this. So it's been like experimented on by the Foundation.
Right, yes.
Because, because not only could it help avoid this effect, but if it has some sort of immunity to conversion in the crystals, it could be used with other SCPs. So countless experiment.
Just gonna make a quick change to the containment procedures.
Multi-layer.
Multi-layer, just
right. So what Tan's doing right now is through his description, he's giving himself avenues to work with, more options to explore in the addendum, various directions he can take.
Nevertheless, however, current rate of conversion indicates that the entirety... I'll fix that in 1 second.
No problem. Also, we stopped calling it bird, rip.
Oh, right, yeah. Oh. Well, doesn't matter. Yeah, the body will be transmuted into crystal
by
at least 5 months.
Yeah. That way you don't have to put a censored date.
Yeah. So let's
I don't know, at least 5 months sounds weird. You would usually say as early as 5 months.
In as early... That's longer, though. I don't really want to just...
Well, right, but in at least makes it sound like they want it to happen. Like, at least 5 months from now, it'll be transmuted into crystal. Whereas you want it to be implied in as in... It'll be transmuted in approximately 5 months.
But the thing is, that's the earliest one, because it's going to be variable here. They've not really got a full estimate, because it depends how much it touches.
Right. Body will be transmuted into crystal in as early as 5 months. Yes. Yeah, that works. No method of halting this process has... Okay.
Okay, so...
I would just get rid of the thus. Just seems unnecessary with the yet. Alright. So we've built a solid foundation so far. Let's read it back real quick.
So SCP is an adult chicken which converts any substance which directly touches its skin into a unique form of crystal. Analysis of said crystal reveals it to be a form of solidified air, and thus is extremely fragile to the touch. SCP itself is not immune to this effect, and current inspection shows at least 32% of its body, that should be, is now composed of this crystal substance. Footnote, it's unknown how SCP continues to function when several of its organs have already been converted. Inspection of SCP's non-converted body parts shows signs of significant past physical injury, and will typically respond with distress when approached by personnel. Further investigations of this behaviour have been conducted, and the results of said investigation can be found in Addendum X-1. Although SCP is not immune to its own effects, it does appear to have some level of resistance, as it would otherwise have been immediately converted to crystal into crystal, I think that should be, actually. Upon manifestation of its anomalous properties. Nevertheless, however, current rate of conversion indicates the entirety of SCP's body will be transmuted into crystal in as early as 5 months. No method of halting this process has yet been found.
So as it is now, unless you think this needs more, I think this is perfectly fine for the description, and now we just need to go into a couple of things with it.
Yeah. I think that's a good description there.
So the first thing, before I get into the description itself, that I noticed is based on the way you worded that it's an investigation, I kind of think we maybe instead of framing the addendum as just a series of what was found, perhaps an interview with the con man as he describes what he did.
Right, yes.
With interlaced with afterwards something closing statement. Investigation showed he did X, X, and X, whatever is needed.
Right, yes.
So what Tan did, or if you don't mind me going into this, because you're the one who wrote it, if you would like to speak up. Okay. So what he does in the description is he splits it up. Each paragraph serves a purpose. So it's really easy when you write something to put filler. Now, when you're writing a book or a tale, even, description is not a bad thing. Adding more adjectives to visualize. But you have to remember two things with SCP. There's the lore factor, which is this is a scientific document. And then there's also the factor of the narrative, is you're spending time on a theme in an article or telling a story, not necessarily getting caught up in the little details. So every sentence serves a purpose. Right. So the first paragraph he wrote, it sets up, it tells you what the S...
Tells you what the S... Hello?
As I was saying with description 1, it clarifies the special containment procedures, and it sort of lets you know, okay, this is what it is. In paragraph 2, it starts setting the tone. We talk about, or Tan talks about signs of significant past physical injury, how it responds with distress, and how there were investigations into what happened to it. And then finally, we have what we clarified at the beginning of the special containment feature. Special containment procedures. Sorry, there was a cutout, so I'm a little off guard. So he talks about how its days are numbered. He gives an approximate date, like as early as 5 months. How there's been no hope either, which further sets the tone that not only is this going to be a sad story, but it's going to be one without hope. This is going to be something dire, and it also adds on to a little bit of mystery into it by saying that somehow something about this chicken makes it so that it hasn't already died by now, which also opens up an avenue, if we wanted to take that route, in a second addendum or something, to some sort of experiment log. So every sentence he's written has a purpose. There's no filler of like, the chicken is 1 foot tall and has pretty white feathers like the wind. That's a terrible example. My writer brain is off. But you know what I mean. Everything has to serve a purpose in your SCP. You don't want to put random sentences for no reason. That detracts from the theme you're going for.
Some people can pull it off. I don't like it.
Yeah.
That's the point.
I feel like that just works better for Tales, personally, than the purpose of an SCP.
Sometimes description does sort of set the tone, though, so it's a bit of a balance.
Then in that case, that's not filler. I'm not saying don't describe your SCP. I'm saying make sure it has a purpose. If your description is setting a tone, then that's fine. But if your description is just description for the sake of pretty language or to give a better mental image, then it's not really helpful.
Right, yeah. Make sure everything in your article contributes something to the... Because you've only got so many words. It's a short writing form. Make sure you use the words you've got the best you can. Exactly.
And for a very simple example that I know everyone who's watching this will know, take Peanut, for example. They describe him as a statue that moves when you don't look at him. They don't be like, oh, he has a statue with a red painted face and several black eyes along him. Like, that's useless information. Exactly. I think that's the biggest thing authors forget, because usually when you're writing a book or a story, that stuff's fine. But in the world of SCP, when you're writing an article, you need to cut out all the filler. Every sentence has to have a mission, and Tan does a brilliant job with that. He's really, really good with putting that together. So I mean, we still plan to get this credited. It probably could use some work, but like, we don't need to worry about having to go back through and cutting out every little bit of filler. But usually, when you're done reading your description, I would always recommend reading through it anyways, but if you ever read something and you realize that it's not really important to what the story you're trying to sell, then you should just delete it. Even if it makes your description shorter or you feel like you like it, just delete it.
Yeah, so going back on what you've just said there, I feel like what we sort of thought of at the start about Guinevere and all that, I feel like that we don't need that, really.
I agree. I was just going to say special metal. You wanted to do Guinevere to tie it in with your stories.
So I think we can just say multi-layer hazard suits, because... obviously, the second layer won't be touching the chicken.
Oh, that's true. And it's not like the crystal infects more things. It'll just infect what it touches.
So it's just...
that also...
kill your darlings.
Exactly. That's getting rid of unnecessary detail. You know, that's a great point, Tan.
Yeah.
So, and remember, Tan is an amazing writer, and even he goes back and edits. Never just write something and then don't go through it. Because no matter how good you think you are, even if you're even master tier authors who write bestsellers with every book in real life, go back through and edit their work, or they have editors look at their work. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. That doesn't mean you need to pour over your SCP for 10,000 years, but you should always go back and at least try to improve it.
Yeah, absolutely. Even if it's already good, it could be better.
Exactly. So, I hope that gives you guys some confidence, because I know Tan is like a pretty big name in the community, so don't feel discouraged if you get your SCP credit and people tell you to change this or that this isn't a very good part.
There's nothing to worry about.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so I think... go ahead.
Yeah, I think we've got the description, we've got our special containment procedures, we've got object class, we know where we're going to be going with the addendums. I think that's a pretty good stopping point for how to write a description.
I agree. We went through it a lot quicker because with the containment procedures, we had to brainstorm the whole idea from the get-go.
In retrospect, that probably should have been 2 videos.
Nevertheless, though, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, showing that process. But yeah, maybe 2 videos would have been better. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope we were able to show you some things. Tan, thank you for being the writer as always.
No worries at all. I enjoy doing it.
Yeah, and I enjoy doing videos with
Thank you for providing the bulk of the content during this video, Darnell, because otherwise I would just be typing.
I mean, hey, without your typing, there'd be no content. That's why we're the best team in all of YouTube.
And thank you, dear viewer.
There's no duo on YouTube famous for anything that's more potent than us. No Let's Players per se.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, no one who played. Yeah, there's no duo better than us.
Yeah,
that's just all.
We're actually the first duo on YouTube. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's really great. You know, a
Most
lot of people
YouTube
think
channels, it's for one person or 3 people, but we saw a little avenue there.
Yeah, so
this is of course now completely irrelevant. So how to write a description?
All right, yeah, we should probably sign off here.
Welcome to Funny, and goodbye.
Yeah.